If you've taken an AncestryDNA test, I have news for you. You can find your ancestors in Pennsylvania and actually other places using some of the information in that test, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this episode. My name's Denise Allen. I am a researcher here in Pennsylvania, and today I'm going to be talking about AncestryDNA, and the examples I'll use are particular to Pennsylvania. You can use these techniques anywhere in the United States, so just take what I use and transplant it to wherever else you are researching. In this episode, I'm going to share how you take a birthplace of Pennsylvania, just a very general Pennsylvania, and figure out where that person was actually born using the results in the AncestryDNA features that they offer to their customers. And it's because they have the largest testing database of DNA that this technique works. Now, AncestryDNA has a feature within their website which specifically tells you what genetic communities you are a part of. A lot of people are focused on the ethnicity portion of AncestryDNA testing, and this is great to tell you what country your ancestors came from, but I'm talking about genetic communities. And genetic communities are simply a group of AncestryDNA testers who have descended from a set of common ancestors in a particular time and place. So this isn't defining everyone who lived in that particular time and place. It's just defining the AncestryDNA testers who share some part of their DNA together, and it's only people that lived in a certain time and place that share that particular part of DNA. Now, I can't tell you what parts of DNA it is because that's proprietary to Ancestry. Only AncestryDNA knows what these exact chromosomes are that people are sharing. However, it's enough for us as genealogists to know the genetic communities. In Pennsylvania in particular, there are over 80 genetic communities. That is 80. That is a lot for a state that has 67 counties, and most of it very, very rural for a lot of its history. So if you have a list of genetic communities, I'm going to tell you now how to use it with your existing research to help you target in your search. Some of the Pennsylvania genetic communities are very broadly named, such as Mid-Atlantic settlers. Now, Mid-Atlantic for the AncestryDNA map of that genetic community encompasses much of eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, a little bit into New York, and that's not really helpful in terms of research because if you're doing documentary research, going through records, that's a large area to go through. But some of the genetic communities are very, very specific, such as Northern Armstrong and Southern Clarion counties. Now, if you had that as a result on your DNA test, that would give you a small area, probably about 30 miles by 50 miles, to search for your ancestors. That is doable with documentary research. So let's start working with a genetic community. First, let's log into Ancestry and go to the DNA section. We want to be sure to look at our DNA story, where we can see the timeline of our ethnicity matches and our genetic communities. You might need to scroll that timeline on the right or move the map on the left to get to the location that you're searching. In this example, I'm researching in Pennsylvania, but this works with any location in the US where most of the genetic communities are located. You can zoom in and then select a community label in the timeline to see it highlighted on the map. The green map pins or tags show the ancestors in your family tree that you have in that community. If you click on a green tag, you can find out exactly which ancestors those are. In this example, I'm going to use a community called Central Pennsylvania Settlers, which is part of a larger community labeled Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, Northern West Virginia, and Maryland Settlers. I want to make sure to zoom back out so I can see the whole Pennsylvania state border because I'm going to take a screenshot of this so I have a map of this community. I'm going to use it for the next step. Now, using maps. I use Canva to do the work for this, but you could use any program that works for you. I find a map of Pennsylvania that shows that both the terrain of Pennsylvania and the county borders. I like the terrain because it kind of shows how communities were isolated back in the 19th and 18th century. I take my map that I just took from Ancestry, I lay it on top, and I alter the transparency so that I can see through the map to the underlying map of the county borders. I stretch things out, make sure everything lines up as much as possible, and then I'll be able to see exactly what counties this genetic community is in. I have another map of the counties of Pennsylvania labeled, and I can use that to label my new map that I just made. So now that I know the names of the counties, I type them in here on the map so I'm very clear with myself and my future me, who might look at this map later, to know exactly what counties it is I should be focusing my research on for the ancestors with the green pins here on the map. Now that you know the specific names of the locations for your genetic community, because you've done the work with the maps, now it's time to hit the books. What books am I talking about? Books that are about the history of that place where your genetic community has been identified. The books that are particularly helpful that I found are those county biographies and histories that were written in the last half of the 19th century. I've included a link to some collections in the show notes, so check that out. But the best way to figure those out is to contact the local historical or genealogical societies of that area and ask them what they would recommend. All of them have Facebook groups, many of them have websites, and they're very kind and helpful people to help you connect with your ancestors. So once you have that set of books that you want to start reading, look at who was coming into that area at what time, where were they from. Sometimes it gets very specific in terms of towns or counties that they came from over in Europe, and that can help you trace your ancestors back even further. They also list a bunch of surnames of who was in that county, so that could be another clue for you if it matches the surname that you're researching. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes, and welcome to all the new subscribers. Using genetic communities can provide new trails for research, and it can also help us confirm research that we've already completed on our ancestors. And I hope that this helps you use what you already have to further your research of your Pennsylvania ancestors.